Hey everyone, this is Dr. B with Steps to the Future. Thank you so much for those of you that are joining in this evening. I'm going to give it just a second or so just to see who else is joining in. And remember, whenever you join in, please make some comments, join in the conversation. Just want to check to make sure that this is working okay. Folks, share this out with your friends, with people that you know, because we definitely want people to find out about these wonderful books that I'm going to share with you today. Just double checking to see if we're live. Yes, we are. So that is so good. That is so good. So this month is February and we are celebrating Black History Month. And one of the things that I wanted to bring to you was a collection of books that I have accumulated. Haven't read them all, I'll be honest with you, to share some words of wisdom about reading in Black History Month. Now, we know there have been so many books that have been banned, unfortunately, because folks feel like if we know the truth, that somehow that's going to make us a nation that can't handle the truth. And we know that is not true. So one of the things I want to do, like I said, I'm going to bring some books to you. But first, let me get this settled over here. We're going to move over here to this next screen. So this is what we're doing. We're celebrating Black History Month, and I'm doing it through the love of books. So that's what works for me. You know, those of you that know me, you know that I love to buy books. Don't always I have such a pile of books that I still have to read. And some of these I've just read the covers, so I haven't gone through them yet because I've got to finish the ones that I've already started. So before we begin, one of the things I always like to do is ask people, what are you grateful for today? And what are you doing for self-care? So join in. You're watching this live. If you're watching it on the replay, please let me know. What are you grateful for today? So I'll start. I'm grateful for books. I'm grateful for libraries. I'm grateful for the ability to read. To me, reading is freedom. You know, when we hear that saying, reading is fundamental. That is, that's my motto. You know, books are my love language. I love that particular line that I have a t-shirt from I Am Blacklit that says books are my love language. So that's one of the things I'm grateful for today. And then what are you doing for self-care? I continue to hike and travel and hang out with Life's a Trip Adventure Club. We're based here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, but we're definitely open to anyone that's in the area. And this is a photo of us on one of our hikes to Black Mountain, North Carolina. And there is this mural project of North Carolina, of musicians that were born in North Carolina. And one of the ones that happens to be part of this mural project is Roberta Flack. And she was born in Black Mountain, North Carolina. So when we were heading to our trail to go do our hike for the day, we saw the mural on the side of the building. And we said, oh, we all got to jump out of all our cars and take a picture. So again, that's what I'm doing for self-care. Plus reading. Like for me, reading is life. If I don't read, even if it's just one page a day, my day isn't complete. So again, what are you doing for self-care and what are you grateful for today? Every day we have something for which we can be grateful. And if it's just that you woke up today, and I shouldn't say just woke up, that's huge, to be able to wake up every day and to have a new day and to be able to start all over again with the clean slate with that day. So again, what are you grateful for today? So as we move on, the first book that I want to bring to you is, and actually let me see if I can do this right because we'll be doing all this playing around here. Let's see. Yep. This is the first book. It's called Up Home and it's One Girl's Journey. And this book is by Ruth Simmons. And let me get back to the slide for Ruth Simmons. So as you can see, We're talking here Up Home, One Girl's Journey, Ruth Simmons. And I'm not going to read this to you because you all know how to read. But I'm from Rhode Island, so if you know me, you know I'm from Rhode Island. And at the time that I lived in Rhode Island, Ruth Simmons, Dr. Ruth Simmons, was the president of Brown University. She was the first Black president of Ivy League University. And as you can see in her, and actually, let me make this bigger so those of you, so make sure you can see it. She, as I said, she grew up the 12th child of sharecroppers. This really hits home with me because my mom actually was a sharecropper in Mississippi as a young child, and it was something that she really didn't like to talk about, but it's part of our family's history. And yet, as you can see in this short paragraph about Dr. Simmons, you see that she was the first Black president of Ivy League University, as I said, Brown University. She's the former president of Smith College, Brown, and Prairie View A&M. Prairie View A&M is an HBCU, as it says. It's Texas's oldest HBCU. So again, this is her book. She went to Dillard University, which is an HBCU, and Harvard University for her master's and for her PhD. Served on the faculty of multiple colleges and as a college administrator, and you can see some of that information. Now, I'm not going to, so it's important for you to see that. Now, here's one of the reasons why I think this is important, not just because I like to read, but we have young folks who are trying to figure out what their purpose is in this world. So when I kind of reconfigured this live stream, I turned it to C3 with Dr. B. And the C3 is for career awareness, career development, and career exploration. What better way to learn about a career than to read about somebody's career? So I thought this was an excellent way for somebody wanted to go into higher ed, if they wanted to go into public policy and education. What better way than to learn from somebody who did this type of work? So again, this is the book. It's Up Home by Dr. Ruth Simmons. And I definitely hope that you get it. You can buy the book. You can go to your local public library. It's funny having this screen blurred out. I'm trying to figure out how to do this because I moved into my inside office and it's a mess. So I need to blur the screen so you don't see too much of it. But this is the book. So if you have the opportunity, please, please, please go to a library, go to a bookstore, and buy this book and learn about Dr. Ruth Simmons. So that's book one. I've got a couple more to go because if you know me, you know I have books. This next book, Just Pursuit, A Black Prosecutor's Fight for Fairness. And as you can see on the screen, the author of this book is Laura Coates. Actually, I didn't. Yeah. So she had joined the Department of Justice as a prosecutor. Did that for a number of years, and you can learn about the experiences that she had as a prosecutor from reading her book. And again, as that last paragraph says, it says her experiences show that no matter how fair you try to fight, being Black, a woman, and a mother are identities often at odds in the justice system. She is a lawyer. She is a CNN political analyst, and she's on CNN in the evening. And she's also a radio host on Sirius XM, channel 124, POTUS channel. And you can hear her there. I want to say it's early morning. It's either 7 or 8 in the morning. I'm not sure because I do listen to her, but I'm never sure what time it is because I'm usually listening to multiple things or doing multiple things at the time. And she is a graduate of Princeton University. So let me show you what that book looks like so that you can run out and buy your copy. So this is Just Pursuit. Ooh, this is Just Pursuit. You can see here. This one I have read, and it's really good. It's such a fair and heartbreaking depiction of what happens to people that are unfairly prosecuted. But you just see how the justice system is not meant for certain people. When we hear people say, the justice system is broken, for Black and brown people. It's working the way it was designed to work. That's my feeling. And that's, that's how I look at it. So again, Just Pursuit. So again, this is a great book to read for young people that are thinking about a career in criminal justice. Having a career in criminal justice can take many different forms. So reading about her job, her work as a prosecutor will give people an idea of what that is like. And also, the other thing I also want to mention as I'm going through these books, I think it's really important for young people to, when they have the opportunity to go to book talks. So when an author is at a bookstore or the library, we do author talks at Cumberland County Public Library. I think it's really important, even if the book isn't necessarily something that you're interested in, but if you want to hear more about how authors get to where they are, how their whole process, how they went from an idea to a finished product, going to book talks is a great way to do this. It doesn't cost you anything. You get to talk to the author. For people that are interested in creative writing or English or history, that's a really, really great way to learn a little bit more. So let me move on to our next book here. I tell you, I could have, this is something where, we could have had 50 million books because Lord knows I have way too many. So this next book is, it's called HBCU Made, A Celebration of the Black College Experience. And the editor is Ayesha Rascoe. So Ayesha actually is on NPR. She's a journalist on NPR. So you could catch her show. And what she did is she talked to quite a range of people, and they talked about their accounts at an HBCU. And I'll just tell you who some other people are. Actually, I'll tell you who the people are that she talked to for this book. She talked to Roy Wood Jr. So any of you that happen to watch the late night show, he was I wouldn't say sidekick, but the co-host with Trevor Noah. He talked to Ray Wood Jr., he talked to Stacey Abrams, Lauren Ellis, Sean Zachary, Tendaya Kuyumba, Branford Marcellus, and on and on. Oprah Winfrey is in here. Let's see, who else? April Ryan, who was another journalist. So again, this is a great book to read, to hear about people's actual experiences at an HBCU. And this is the book. I'm excited because this just came. Ooh, this being this blurred screen, this just came in the mail today. So I'm just cracking it open. But again, I've already have 2 or 3 that I'm reading. So this is on my reading list. So again, this is HBCU Made and Ayesha Rascoe, and she talks to quite a few people. So, let me put this back up so to make sure that you can see who she is. So she talks to Oprah, who went to Tennessee State University. Branford Marcellus went to Southern University. He's a musician. She herself went to Howard University, as you can see on the screen. Stacey Abrams went to Spelman. Roy Wood Jr. went to Florida A&M. He's a comedian and an actor. Honoré Fanone Jeffers went to Talladega College. She is an author. Nicole Perkins went to Dillard University, another author. April Ryan, Morgan State, a journalist. Lauren Ellis went to Hampton, a visual effects producer. Lanita Inge went to Florida A&M, a journalist. Sean Zachary went to Southern, a majorette team director. Tendai Kumba went to Spelman, Broadway dancer and singer. Michael Arsenault went to Howard. He's an author. Rebecca Russo went to Dillard, diversity communications professional. Marquise Brown, Hampton, digital marketer. Melanie Parker went to Hampton, diversity professional. And Brandon Gilpin went to Morehouse, and actor. So again, Students that are interested in HBCUs, what a great way to hear about people's experiences at a HBU. This is something that you can add to your research so you can find out a little bit more about what it's like being on a HBCU campus, and if that's something you want to do. But again, Ayesha is a journalist and she edited this book. So, again, this is another way for young folks to find out if that's the type of career they want. I ask my students all the time now, and I don't ask them, what do you want to major in? I ask them, what kind of problems do you want to solve? What challenges do you see out there in the world that upset you, that make you sad, that make you want to do something to change it? What a great way to find out about what challenges you might want to solve or be part of the solution than by reading about their different stories. Everyone that wrote these books did it for a reason. Laura Coates wrote her book because she wanted people to understand the problem that she was trying to solve, or the problem that she wanted to look at was, what's it like for Black and brown people from the prosecutor side? What does our justice system look like? So she wanted to be able to tell the story from her point of view. And you'll see a couple of others that we'll go through. Okay, so let me move on to the next one. Ooh. So let me show you this. I'm going to show you the book first on this one. So this is called Unmasking AI. And it's my mission to protect what is human in a world of machines. Now, right now, AI is like everywhere. It's everywhere. But what I really like about Dr. Joy, I'm going to butcher her name. I hope I say it right. Dr. Joy Buolamwini, her book, is she really has delved into some of the unfairness and the inequities in AI. It says, after tinkering with robotics as a high school student in Memphis and then developing mobile apps in Zambia as a Fulbright fellow, she followed her lifelong passion for computer science, engineering, and art to MIT in 2015. As a graduate student at the Future Factory, which is what they call MIT. She did groundbreaking research that exposed widespread racial and gender bias in AI services from tech giants across the world. So she is still currently an MIT researcher. She is the founder of the Algorithmic Justice League, did her undergraduate work at Georgia Tech and her graduate work at MIT, and is currently, as I said, an MIT researcher. So again, this is so relevant for what's going on today. I mean, all of these books are, but for anyone that really wants to understand some of the biases that are in AI, this is a great book to read. Also, follow her on LinkedIn. She's pretty active on LinkedIn. She has she has TED Talks. All of these people, definitely find them on their social media, follow them, learn more from them, and that's part of what we need to do. Okay, and last but not least, so I am so thrilled about this book. I am a big fan of the author. I love listening to Urban View Radio on Sirius XM, and one of the hosts on one of the shows is Clay Kane. So Clay Kane started several years ago. Maybe it's been 3 years now. One of the things that he started on his radio show was a series called Exonerated. And what he did is he researched stories about Black men who had been unfairly jailed for anywhere from a few years to 40 years for some people, who eventually were exonerated because the charges against them were false. Listening to that show, really opened my eyes up to another part of the justice system that I knew a little about, but not a lot about. So having the opportunity to listen to that on Wednesday afternoons, and at that time he was on from 1 to 3. He is now on Sirius XM, Urban View Radio, which is channel 126, from 12 to 3. He has a 3-hour show now. But this is his book. This book just came out. Just came out. I mean, I just got it in the mail today. So I haven't even, had a chance to read any of it yet. So it's called, me and this blurry thing here. Okay, there it is. It's called The Grift, and I'll put up his slide so that you can see information about it. And here we go. So The Grift, the downward spiral of Black Republicans from the party of Lincoln to the cult of Trump. And as you can see, he's a journalist, radio host, a political commentator, and he graduated from Rutgers in New Jersey. So after the Civil War, the pillars of Black republicanism were a balanced critique of both political parties, civil rights for all Americans, reinventing an economy based on exploitation, and most importantly, building thriving Black communities. How did Black republicanism devolve from revolutionaries like Frederick Douglass to the puppets in the Trump era? So I'm really looking forward to reading this book, because when and if you listen to his radio show, you will see that he does not mince words and he takes no prisoners. So again, this is one of the 5 books that I'm strongly recommending for Black History Month, for people to read, not just for Black History Month, but forever. Every month to me is Black History Month. So February is when the country formally recognizes it, but it's every day for me. And I really think it's important that students start reading these types of books, Black and brown students, white students, all students, adults too. Reading these books, learning about our history, learning about different eras in our history and what happened, the real truth. Like I said, we're having so many books that are being banned because people don't want the real history out there. So I strongly urge people to read, because that's how you learn. I mean, my ancestors fought valiantly for the right to read. So for me not to read would be so disrespectful to all that they went through. So for me, reading is an honor of all that they did and all that people like these authors continue to do. So again, the book is, let me put his slide up again, The Grift, the downward spiral of Black Republicans from the party of Lincoln to the cult of Trump. I think you definitely should grab this book, whether it's at your public library or at a bookstore. And while you're getting these books, here's a great bookstore I think you should use. It's called I Am Black Lit is the name of the bookstore. It's in Texas, but you can definitely order online. That is the URL. And just recently the owner of the excuse me, my mouth is not working well today. The owner of the bookstore had posted on her Instagram about the challenges of keeping open a bookstore. I don't think people realize, yes, we've got all these wonderful books here, but we have to pay rent. We have to pay the bills. So if people aren't coming in buying books, from the store or ordering the books online, it makes it really difficult for people to keep the lights on. So I really think it's important that we support Black-owned stores. I love that t-shirt. So I think that's one that I'll probably have to add to my collection. I have a couple of t-shirts and I think one sweatshirt from her store and a couple of books that I've bought. But again, let's help Black bookstores survive, because they're not going to be banning our books. They're not going to be banning the books that we need to read. So that's all I have for you, because I am just wanted to come to you and talk to you about some books that you can read. Every week or every time I do a live stream, I do like to highlight a book. And I figured with this being Black History Month, I am going to focus on Black authors as much as possible. So Is anybody that's out there listening online, what's your favorite book? Do you have a book by a Black author that you'd like to recommend that you think is something that people should read? Share your comments with folks here. Because I definitely like to know. I'm always looking for something else to read. I probably I know I will never read everything that's on my shelf because we just don't have enough years left. And I need a day instead of 24 hours. I need a day with about 48 hours in a day to do the reading and everything else that I like to do. So I don't see any comments up here. So I guess you folks aren't out there reading. That's not good. You need to be out there reading, people, because it's so important that we do that. So I'd love to connect with people out there. One of the best ways to connect with me is on LinkedIn. You can just take your camera up there, your phone camera, and go to that QR code, and it will take you to my LinkedIn page, where I post at least once a day, about college stuff, career stuff, what I'm reading, what I may be doing with my adventure club. But I would really love to hear from folks. So one more time, let me put that up there so to make sure that you can get that. So again, I really hope that you have the opportunity to get a couple of these books and to do some reading. And like I said, for me, every month is Black History Month. So this is Dr. B from Steps to the Future, just celebrating my love for books during this month. Before I sign off, I do want to say rest in power to Joe Madison, known as the Black Eagle. Mr. Madison was a radio host on Sirius XM Urban View Radio, and he made transition last week. And I would just like to, say my condolences to his family, to his Urban View family, because he was powerful. He was a fantastic activist, and Mr. Madison ended every show when people, or he always challenged people when they would come on and talk about all the craziness in our world, and he would always challenge people by saying, "So what are you going to do about it?" Because he definitely believed that everybody can do something. So this is part of my something, bringing this type of information to folks, because not everybody can afford to have an independent educational consultant. Not everyone is getting information that is pertaining to them. So that's what I'm going to do about it. I am going to continue bringing issues that affect the Black and Brown community, highlighting Black and Brown career professionals and Black and Brown authors, because that's my community. And I want to make sure that my community has the information that will help them not just live, but help them thrive. So again, I will see you next week. And thank you so much for tuning in, and get out there and buy some books and read, everybody. So this is Dr. B from Steps to the Future signing off this evening, and I thank everyone for joining in, and make sure you throw this out to share it with people so they can learn about these wonderful books too. Take care, everyone, and have a fantastic evening.